Come on, Twitter.
Ooh, we're live.
There it is.
We're live. Ready for an exuberant introduction. Boom! And we're live. How's that, guys? Nothing? No?
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today here, guys, but let's just check in and see how everyone's doing. I think Leander is a little sleepy today. But he's broadcasting with the all-new iMac. It
I
looks
just
like
slept an extra hour.
you did. You look good, but that could
Turned
just
off
be
the
the
alarm,
computational
woke up an hour
HDR.
later.
Oh.
Huh?
Well,
I never do that.
you look like you got like one of those TikTok beauty filters on right now.
Really?
Like I'm surprised that when you smile, there's not like sparkles coming out, like butterflies flying around your head. Like it looks, because you got like that bright backlight going on behind you, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And the Mac is just doing its best to balance that, and so it's basically removed all contrast from your face.
Oh, what? Oh,
All the
crease-
contrast is basically just all I see is just like one solid color. It's just
Oh.
peach, and then a little bit of a goatee action happened right
I'm
there.
feeling peachy.
Lens flare is great, man. J.J. Abrams, I did not know he was producing this podcast.
Yeah, well, we hired him. Only the best for the podcast, Lewis. You know
Right.
that. We only hire top tier talent.
I know we got a very, very high bar.
What do you think? I'm doing all this myself here on a PC? Get out of here. Shout out to Mark T. Shout out to Chase McLean. Brooks. Sering is here. Sering. And then Xavier Campon with a very enthusiastic, hey, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here, guys. We're going to start here in mere moments. I was trying to get Leander to tell us a story about something, but he wouldn't bite. So I'm going to go to Lewis. Lewis, do you have any stories that you can tell us before we jump in? Anything exciting going on in Lose World? Oh, there's a podcast title for you right there, Lose World.
Yeah, one time Leander went to a faith healer.
That was actually, Leander told us that story. Maybe, you know what? I might release that on Cast Off Topic. That was actually very interesting.
Used to have to beep out certain words.
Well, that's the nice thing. If it's for
Was it
them, I don't have to.
profanity? I don't think there's any profanity, was there?
I don't recall there being any.
I'm pretty sure that there was at least one.
Actually, I agree. I think there was at least one, yeah. It's actually really interesting, Leander, how when you know that we're not live, F-bombs, slurs of all kinds, and then as soon as we go live, it's like, zip, you just turn it off. And
Clean it up.
you become a Disney character. There's like, only, oh, gee, golly gosh. You're like the nicest, most family-friendly guy. It's like you have a switch that you can hit. Let's see here. Natalie Sloan is here. She says, Finally I make a live. Finally I make a live while the kids nap. That is
Nice.
think about that, Lewis. That's a profound thing to say. Thank you for that wisdom, Natalie Sloan. Dalva from Brazil. Oh, Dalva from Brazil is here. He says, hello, people. Hello to Dalva. So, guys, as you know, WWDC is, what is it, next week? Or is it 2 weeks from now? Is it next Tuesday? Oh, yeah, okay, so it's
Nail
not
that
next
down,
week.
Henry.
What's that?
Better nail that down.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. We should probably get that done. It's June 7th, Lewis, so it's not,
Let's
it's,
go ahead and know what week it is.
well, okay, it's not next Monday, but the Monday after. We got all sorts of juicy technology to talk about, and I'll just tell you this right now. I'm gonna say this again in the next 10 minutes when we officially start the show live, but out of all the invitation tea leaf reading that we've done, this is the mother load. There's never been one like this. It's in there. As long as you make sure that the invitation is oriented the right way and you have a positive outlook, Lewis, and you're not expecting to not be able to see it, it's going to work. It's like those, did you ever look at those 3D puzzles, Lewis? Where they had all the little sparkles in them or the little dots, and then you had to like look at it just the right way, and then eventually the 3D image would spring to life.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
You never saw those? Those do you know what I'm talking about, Leander? The 3D images that you can look at without 3D glasses on?
3D images without 3D glasses?
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
No, okay. You guys, I guess you guys, maybe that was outside of your era. I thought everyone knew about those. So it's like those images that they'd show on paper, they'd print them, and you had to look at them just right, and you couldn't see anything. It just looked like it looked like the white noise on a television that, when televisions used to have white noise. And then you'd look at it long enough, and all of a sudden, for some reason, a 3D image would appear out of that. It would spring to life, and you could see a 3D image in there.
Was this little tiny pieces of paper that you put on your tongue?
See, I knew you knew what I was talking about. Yeah. You put the paper under your tongue, and you didn't feel anything for like 20, 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden, it was like, whoa, man.
3D. Woo.
You're flying through the cosmos. Luke Skywalker's there. It's like, Yoda, take some of this. Yeah. See, I knew you knew. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this show started. I feel like we need a little energy. We need to energize here, guys. So I'm going to head on over to Mrs. D. Because whenever we need some energy, I know who to go to. Mrs. D's always got something to share. Mrs. D. Mrs. D. Oh, my goodness. It's good to see you, Mrs. D. We're ready for you. Oh, it's my favorite podcast, the Cultcast. Well, thank you. That makes me feel good. And we couldn't do it without you. We're ready to go. We're ready to start. And the people demand the D. That's what they want. Right, Lewis?
Oh, absolutely. I've heard so many demands. It's like ceaseless demands.
Ceaseless demands for the D. So here it comes, Mrs. D. If you would, I'll get the music queued up. You let me know when you're ready to go, and we'll get the show started. Fire away, good chap. Okay. Well, let me just bring up my notes here first, Mrs. D. So I got everything that we need here, and then I'll start the music, and then you just take it away. Okay. Here we go, Mrs. D. I'm ready for you. Hello, and welcome to the Cultcast, the best 30-plus minute alpha conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Eric Elijah. Joining me today, you may have seen his photo hanging on the wanted board of your local post office or on the no minutes board of your neighborhood pub. He's the founder of Cultimac. Leander Caney is here. Also with us.
That was the patron of the week wall.
Patron of the week wall. I think that they had you on there. He only leaves his house to refill his kegs or hunt down escaped Cult of Mac riders. They never make it far. He's the managing editor of Cult of Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? Get in your truck, Lewis? I heard you replaced the hood ornament with one of those targets, right? So they hear.
Bad idea.
They think that running through the soccer field is going to be a good way to escape, but no, you just off the road, right up under the field, running over dogs, people having picnics. We never lost one.
Okay.
We haven't lost one yet. They're all in there riding. Some of them have been in there for 15 to 20 years. All right, guys, we got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about this week. Let me pull up my notes here. As I was mentioning before we officially started, because I like to do the intro twice, we have big news on the quote-unquote M1X MacBook Pros. I think we're going to see them in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Not even 2 weeks. The Monday after next. So I almost said January. June 7th, WWDC. It looks like they're incoming, okay? So that's very exciting. We'll tell you about our WWDC expectations. I'm going to piece the puzzle together for you, okay? If you haven't seen the invitation, normally we like to show the invitation, see what we can glean off of it to see if there are any clues. Apple's putting more clues in their invitation than ever before. And they're getting trickier and trickier. But this one, the clues are there. The clues are there, and if you got to like put your head back as far as your neck will go, right? And then squint, turn your head maybe 15 degrees to the left, and then just like that. Like you just woke up after a very long night. You don't have your glasses, your contacts, and you got to go pee, so you're looking for the bathroom. That's the face you need to make. And then you look at the invitation, you're going to see exactly what I mean. Okay. Guarantee it. If not, I'll walk you through it. Also, if you've been waiting, if you've been excited about the M1X, the M1X Mac Mini Pro, as I like to call it. So the Mac Mini Pro, not the Mac Pro, the Mac Mini Pro. Okay, I think that's right around the corner as well, and we have some very exciting developments to share on that front. I think this is going to be it might be my next computer because it's going to be so powerful and yet so inexpensive. Okay. If we have time, we're going to do this. Apple could be cashing into cryptocurrency. It looks like maybe even TC is getting into that cryptocurrency game. I mean, who's not these days, right? I've already made several million off my Doge, and then I proceeded to lose several million on top of that on my Doge. I was rich. I was absolutely wealthy for about, I'd say, a week, and then I lost it all. But we'll talk about that if we have time. But one thing we have to follow up on is this Apple Music lossless codec story that we did, I think, last week, when we were saying that no Apple devices even support the Apple lossless codec that's coming to Apple Music for free. And I have a big update on this front. So if you're excited, if you use Apple Music, you got HomePods, you have AirPods Max, you are definitely going to want to stay tuned for this story because it's going to be exciting and it's going to be completely free if you already own one of those devices. Now, Lewis, I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
I have a big surprise for you.
Oh.
Are you ready to do
my.
a Cult of Mac store promotion?
Oh,
Surprise!
God.
Did I forget to mention that before we officially
Yeah.
started the show? We'll tell you
I
what.
should just remember to do it every week. I mean, I spend so much time looking at these things. You know, what do we got this week? We got 25% off Mujo products. Ooh,
Yeah. There you go. Hold
Mujo's good.
where did all my oh, there we go. I was gonna say, where did all my stuff go? Okay, so let me bring up the store. I'm gonna hit up browser mode, and you just tell me what you want me to show. What are we talking about? Oh, the Mujo.
Yeah, show 'em,
Boom.
Yeah, show
I'm
'em
on
those, man.
Mujo.
25% off. You know, those are some fine cases for your iPhone.
Absolutely.
Let's see. What
What
all
else
we
you got?
got? They
Yeah.
also got insulated touchscreen gloves, although those don't appear to be on sale.
You
Maybe
don't need
gotta
those.
Maybe you got to put a promo code in or something. I don't
Do we
know.
have one of those still?
It's unclear to me.
Cultcast gets you 10% off everything.
There you go. Use code CultCast at
You-
checkout. Now I will give I'll give a plug to Mujo. They make some of the finest leather iPhone accessories that I've used for sure. I think
They
it
are.
might
They
be a little too early to be doing the double layered touchscreen gloves, Lewis. If I'm being honest, seems
Well,
like
look at
that.
you. You got a winter coat on right now, man. You look like
Yeah, but it's
casting live from Fairbanks.
it's unzipped, so
Oh, okay. I see.
it's Seattle spring attire. Okay, get off my case, Lewis. It's 55 degrees outside right now. I don't have. You see all that sunshine coming in over Leander's shoulder? I haven't seen that in about a week and a half. It's just been nothing but rain here. You can't rely on Seattle sunshine until August. From August, you got from
August 3rd.
almost. It's not that early in the summer. You got to wait till August 12th till August 15th, and then you'll get a solid 2 weeks of summer. And then September 1st or 2nd, boom, summer ends. It immediately drops back down to 50 degrees, and that's where you are until December, where it drops even further. But you got 2 weeks of summer, so you can't blame me for wearing a t-shirt here. Plus, this t-shirt has a giant hole in it, so you guys want to see?
Jurassic
See that?
dork.
Yeah, see that? See that hole right there? So tickled myself. So I wear a jacket over it so that no one can see the hole. Okay.
Hey, here's a little link submitted for your approval. It is a post we just put up this week. 15 amazing Apple Watch accessories at insanely low prices.
Where am I looking at this, Lewis?
I dropped that in Slack.
Yeah, but you didn't. But you
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm trying to hit enter. But
Oh,
it's,
you sent it to me personally. Oh wait, no.
Cultcast. There you go.
Okay, hold on now.
There you go. Maybe you can pull that up on the screen. That's a roundup of stuff that I believe it's all stuff that's available in the store. It's what can you 50 Apple Watch accessories all under $40.
Oh, and these are all things from the store.
I believe they are.
Fantastic. Let me pull this up and hit up browser mode. There we go. Look at all that beautiful stuff. I actually really like the iPhone / Apple Watch / AirPods holder. Does it
Combo
all
charger.
one device. Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Is that see-through? That's a see-through watch band. Who knew such a thing existed? Isn't technology great? Store.cultamac.com. Store.cultamac.com. This one is for Adam Broussard. Yeah.
What did that request look like?
You know what? I'm not even going to explain that because if you don't know, then you don't deserve to know. But firm handshakes to Adam Broussard. Okay, here we go. Should we jump right in here, Lewis? I think you're first on the docket with Apple details plans for WWDC 2021. It's right around the corner. Boom! Take it away.
That is correct. This week we found out what we already knew pretty much is that the keynote will be at 10 a.m. Pacific on Monday, June 7th. Almost certainly, we're going to hear about iOS, Mac OS, and all the other operating systems. That's what they always do. Expectations are high, especially for iPad OS 15, because these new these new M1 iPad Pros are just insanely powerful, and so there's a little bit of a clamor for a little bit, maybe more refined, a little bit more powerful operating system to make them even, really take advantage of all that power in those chips. Uh, Unfortunately, Apple's kept a pretty tight rein on the rumors. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon your persuasion. I mean, do you want to be surprised or do you want to know all about it going in? But the fact of the matter is, little is known right now about what's going to be in iOS 15, Mac OS 12, or any of the other platforms.
Yeah, for the first time, I feel like, or in a long time, we know more about hardware than we do about actual software.
And it is possible we'll be getting some hardware. It's not, as anybody who ever watches them knows, it's not a guarantee that there'll be some hardware. A lot of times there isn't any, but
don't we know though, Lewis? Don't we know?
Some people think they know.
How many of my premonitions of my Columbo puzzle investigations don't come to fruition? Maybe one?
Trying to think of a real.
I think I'm like 12
example.
for 8 in the last 2 months.
Are you on Apple Track yet?
No, but they need to add me. I need to contact them and
do
have them
need
put
to.
me on there. That's a great observation. I need to reach out to them. So here we go, guys. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this invitation. I'm going to describe this for those of you that are listening, okay? Because I know many of you just listen. I'm looking at the WWDC invitation. There's 3 people on there. They're sitting in front of a MacBook Pro. Well, if that doesn't confirm it for you right there, I've got more evidence, okay? One of them has glasses on. And as in previous invitations, there is a reflection in the glasses. You can also see a reflection in the people's eyes. And that's, my friends, where Apple likes to hide the clues, okay? It's hiding in plain sight. It's just hiding right in front of you, okay? So you're saying to yourself, okay, well, what's in the clue, okay? I'm in browser mode, so if you're watching, you can see, but I'm going to describe everything that's in here. So I'm going to go to the actual clue. Here it is, right here. Look at this. This is a tweet from Sammy Fathi, and he wasn't the first or the only to point this out, but he gives a great example here. So you can see when you zoom in, there's some code reflected in this person's glasses. Well, what does the code say? Wouldn't you like to know? I'm not going to tell you. Let's go ahead and wrap it up there. Wait. No, I'm just joking. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate boss move? Is just to wrap it up there and draw it to a close and not even finish? Some people might actually prefer that.
That's all the Coldcast we got for you this week.
Okay, so I'm going to explain what's in her glasses here. So we have a little bit of code, and the code indicates that all the things that are going to happen in the brackets are true. Okay, so are going to happen. And the code references different emoji, right? So one of the set of code, or part of the code, references a fork and a spoon, or excuse me, a fork and a knife. And to me, it's pretty obvious TC is going to make some kind of reference to his Thanksgiving Day feasts that he often has at his house, and he's going to feature that on the stage at some point. And then another part of the code references a emoji where it's a little sleepy face with little Z's coming off of it, okay? So you've eaten too much turkey. Tim Cook baked you a delicious feast. The tryptophan kicks in. Now you're sleepy. Okay, they're gonna let all the journalists take a little nap there in Steve Jobs Theater. Once people have woken up, the last piece of code is, what does that look like right there? Very clearly, that is a MacBook Pro of some kind. And I know many of you are abandoning the feed at this moment. You're like, this guy's lost it. But if that didn't convince you, I have even more evidence to share with you at this very moment. Are you ready? Okay. I'm already convinced. We're getting MacBook Pros. And might I remind you that I think Mark Gurman said that we are going to get new MacBook Pros sometime this summer, he believed. So, last piece of evidence I have here, okay? I just pulled up a tweet from John Prosser. Now, if you're watching, you can't see the tweet, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, I can compare...
Easy for you to say.
The tweet. It says, I can confirm MacBook Pro is coming. And he's talking about a tweet from Apple Track that says, Apple may have hinted at new MacBook Pros coming to WWDC in, I'm adding this last part, in June, because that's when it's happening. So there you are. New MacBook Pros, WWDC, June 7th. Lewis, are you a believer now? Are you ready for a miracle? Ready as you can be.
Seems possible. Does seem possible.
Well, that, a lot of people are saying that tweet. The code is eat, sleep, code, right? Or eat, sleep, work.
Oh,
which kind of makes sense.
I really don't like how much sense that makes.
Eat, sleep, brand new 16-inch M1
with M1X processor.
Yeah.
Well, now if you zoom into the screen on the emoji and you squint, you can see it says M1X on it. Okay, so just bear with me, Lewis.
Plus, this will be the first time in history that Apple has ever actually put a real clue into their, graphics.
Well, what about
to differ?
Yeah, you were gone actually the week that I completely deciphered the spring-loaded event. And you could see that the writing on the invitation, the hello, was the same hello that was on the original Mac when it was like hello. And so they all but confirmed that a new iMac was coming in that invitation. So we might be in a new era where Apple actually does include clues in their invitations. I beg to differ. Yeah.
I typed in the wrong code and I came up with eat, sleep, barber pole.
That's Leander's trifecta.
Yeah. That's what happens if you type in 1F488 instead of.
Oh, you said barber pole. I was thinking dancing pole. My mistake.
Stripper pole? Yeah. I don't know. Is there a stripper pole emoji? I don't know about that.
I think Unicode wanted to introduce one, but TC overruled that. So, MacBook Pros, and let me just give you a refresher on what we're expecting from the M1X. We don't know if it's going to be called the M1X or the M2, okay? But it's probably going to be the M1X is what I'm thinking. It doesn't make sense to change to an entirely new generation of chips at this point because we have the Air version of the chips, right? The M1, which is what they put in the Mac Mini. They put it in the new iMac. It's in the MacBook Air. It's in the 13-inch MacBook Pro, right? Now we need the Pro level version of that chip. Now, what are the differences? A lot of you may recall the current M1, 4 high-performance cores and 4, what do you call it? Low-performance cores? Power-efficient cores. There you go. Power-efficient cores. Whereas it's expected that the M1X is going to have 10 performance cores and 2 power-efficient cores, I believe. And then with the GPU, that's where the big difference is going to be. So the current M1 has 8 GPU cores, and according to Mark Gurman, there's going to be 2 variants of the M1, quote-unquote M1X chip, whatever they end up calling it. One with 16 cores for the GPU and one with 32 cores for the GPU. So a huge improvement in GPU power, by a factor of 1 to 4, 2 to 4. And then you have the capability of having up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, which the current M1 only supports 16. More support for more Thunderbolt ports. We'll probably have the mini LED backlight that the iPad Pro has, HDMI ports, the MagSafe, which when MagSafe comes on, I might start crying. I'm gonna have a full-on. I'm just gonna cry like James Franco in Pineapple Express when he's on that swing after losing Seth Rogen as his best friend. That's gonna be me. It's gonna be such an exciting moment for me. So huge amount of power increase, GPU especially, more RAM, more variety of ports. Oh my gosh, I forgot the best one, the SD card slot. Now, just that one alone. They could just add that and not add anything else, and I'd probably buy it just on that because I use the SD card slot so often. And I'm going to be very happy to see a return to an array of ports, an array of practical ports, not just 2 Thunderbolts on each side and a bag of dongles that cost $85 each for you to enjoy. So there you go. That's the MacBook Pro news that we have for you. There may also be a Mac Mini Pro, which I'm going to send it to Leander to talk about that because that can make an appearance as well. But even if this doesn't come at WWDC, we believe that it's under development, and this is going to be one of those computers that I think a lot of people are going to go for. Because what's the biggest problem with the Mac Mini? It's underpowered, right? Especially the GPU realm. But if they give you an iMac level performance at a reduced price without the screen, that sounds titillating to me.
Sweet.
Take it away, Leander.
Yeah, so the next Mac Mini refresh could bring a slimmer design and a faster M1X chip. This is going to be, according to a reliable leaker.
I think you know him.
Yeah.
He might even be here in the chat.
Mr. Prosser himself, John Prosser, has got some more details. So the machine is expected to be offered as a more powerful alternative to the existing M1 Mac Mini, which is already faster than most Intel-powered Apple computers, but not a complete replacement. So Prosser expects Apple's most affordable desktop to become even more compact with its next refresh. And he also predicts that it will sport a glossy plexiglass-like surface, similar to the original Mac Mini from 2005.
Very interesting.
Huh?
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just talking to myself. I'm looking at the picture right now. The render that Front Page Tech put out, it looks beautiful. I'm looking at it right now.
And despite its stringing stature, the M1 Mac Mini could run an even faster than the M1 model, thanks to what Prosser calls the M1X chip. He predicts that it will pack 10 processing cores and up to 32 cores for graphics, as Irfan just laid out. So the M1X will also allow additional connectivity options, letting Apple add even more ports to the next-gen Mac Mini. Prosser predicts we'll see 4 Thunderbolt ports, 2 USB-A ports. Wow, that's surprising.
USB-A.
That's back.
Hallelujah. Did I not tell you it was going to make a comeback?
There's going to be a parallel printer port.
Don't forget about SCSI.
Yeah, a floppy
and FireWire
disk
400, not 800, just
Right. 400. Yeah, the original. That's for the original iPod, right? You got to plug that back in. Anyway, yeah, HDMI and Ethernet.
You know
Ethernet.
what?
I think I took Ethernet on the power brick. Like the like on the iMac.
That's actually a really interesting observation. Yeah, maybe there'll be an option to have it on the power brick, but I mean this machine is clearly going to be more pro than the M1 iMac. So it wouldn't surprise me if the orientation of the ports was a little bit different, and maybe it would be like a 10G. A computer of this power, I think they would probably also give you the option for a 10G Ethernet port there on the back.
They have that right now, don't they? In the current.
Not on the current M1
Do
Mac
they have it on
Mini.
Didn't they have it on the Intel one?
They have it on the Intel one as an option, I believe.
But not on the new
not on the M1. Yeah. See, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Apple released all of their lower tier computers with the M1, but they haven't released anything that is quote unquote pro level yet. And I think that we're going to start seeing that stuff roll out at WWDC.
Right. It's going to be super exciting, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming up. So anyway, one other design change that according to Prosser could include a magnetic power contactor, like the one found on the M1 iMac, a repositioned cooling grill, and rubber strips rather than rubber feet on the machine's base. Oh, wow, that's some exciting details there.
I really am hoping. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the new strips on the bottom, so instead of like the little round things.
Can't get down with the rubber feet.
Everybody's so excited about the strips.
Yeah, so there you go. Very exciting machine, and this is something I've been hoping for. If you listen to this show, this is something I've been hoping for a long time, is a Mac Mini Pro. I actually hope they call it the Mac Mini Pro. If I keep saying it enough, maybe someone in the Apple marketing department will pick it up, because many of them are probably here now, watching under aliases. They would never use their actual names. I'm looking at the chat to see if I recognize anyone. I know TC pops in from time to time to get some ideas for upcoming products, that type of thing. So Mac Mini Pro. Do you think that'd be confusing, though? There'd be the Mac Pro and then the Mac Mini. Yeah, because they're making the Mac Pro Mini, too.
Well, there'd be the Mac Pro, the Mac Pro Mini, and the Mac Mini Pro.
And don't forget the Mac Pro.
Yeah, the Mac Pro, right.
They might do it. I mean, they would be like, I always joke, I'm like, what's the difference between a Mac Mini Pro and a Mac Pro Mini? Oh, about $3,000. It's like, they're going to be very similar in a lot of different ways, except the Mac Pro Mini, if they end up calling it that, is going to be a lot shorter in stature, but clearly much bigger than the Mac Mini Pro. And
oh my God, my head hurts.
It's marketing genius, Lewis. I'm giving them diamonds here. So there you have it. That is the new Mac Pro Mini. This is just a
so
render,
is it
by the way.
Process saying that it might be revealed at WWDC, but Again, it might not.
No, I don't think he actually said when the reveal date might be.
And
But
also,
yeah, go ahead.
well, before you rudely cut Lewis off,
Yeah.
he was going to say that there's rumors of a new iMac, right? The iMac Pro, or the bigger iMac at WWDC too. So that's kind of like quite a lot of hardware that we're rumored to be seeing.
Well,
New
first of all,
iMacs.
I take umbrage with the fact that you said I cut off Lewis. I would never do that, right, Lewis?
I was looking at the last couple of lines that he was supposed to read out, and I was just it was making me upset.
Anyway,
I
let's
think
move
I
on.
strayed off the notes.
Okay, yeah, because that was in the notes. Lewis, were you going to say something, please, about
You
the
circled
iMac?
back. No, it's fine. Just go.
Okay.
I don't think
Which
it
one-
says in that story anything about when Prosser is saying that Mac Mini M1X powered blah blah. I don't think he says when that's supposed to happen, right?
Does not, no. And I was trying to read the tea leaves here, right? We're clearly going to get some Macs here at WWDC. I can never say that fast. And we know that, per Gurman, Apple is working on a larger iMac. And I think we can infer from the fact they didn't release it when the 24-inch iMac came out that there's going to be some significant differences between the two. If it was just a larger screen, why wouldn't they release it when the M1 iMac came out? Clearly, there's going to be a pro level of the iMac. So when is that going to get released? Well, if they're going to be introducing Macs at WWDC, why not get all this gear out before the back-to-school season starts, before the holiday rush, in October, November? I mean, I suppose they could release it in the fall, but that's when they're going to be releasing iPhones. So it kind of seems like a now or never type thing. If they're going to have all these devices coming out, unless they're going to be coming out next year, it seems like they would need to do it at WWDC. And we, per Prosser, have a good, we have a high likelihood that we're going to see the MacBook Pros, the new ones, at WWDC. So why not just do them all? Just think of how we would all be in Eros if they did that.
Yeah.
I'd wake up after it. Leander would probably have to do a hard reset because he would just go into his astonishing loop. Astonishing. And go.
I like the eye twitch there too. Yeah.
I love the hard astonishing loop, the infinity loop. All right, so let's see. That's your MacBook Pro news. That is your Mac Mini Pro update. Okay. Should we do this? Apple could be cashing in on cryptocurrency. I think we should because we're running a little short here.
Only if I don't have to talk about cryptocurrency.
Do you guys know anything about cryptocurrency?
I've heard something about it.
I know how to lose lots of money investing in it.
Yeah, well, you and me both. What are you invested in right now, Leander?
I bought some Dogecoin on the advice of my son, who is now my financial advisor.
And he got his advice from Reddit, I'm sure.
His buddy. No, he got his pot-smoking buddy.
Said something about the moon and how we're all going there.
Right. Get on now. Of course, like you, I don't buy until there's already big stories in the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN. By which point it's a little bit too late.
Yeah, I usually find out about it by just looking on the internet. And I see a story from like 3 weeks ago where Jim Cramer was talking about it. I'm like, oh no, I gotta buy.
Yeah,
and I do, and it immediately goes in. I think Doge is going to the moon now. I should say, never follow my financial advice or any of my feelings about Bitcoin or anything because I like to buy high and sell low. So unless that's the strategy that you like to pursue, yeah.
If you hold on long enough, you were saying earlier that you sold your AMC stock. I held on. I bought some AMC stock again on the advice of my son, and saw that tank. But if you hold on long enough, it'll come back. So it's actually up today.
Oh, dude. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Me and my brother bought some Bitcoin too, actually Litecoin and Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
When was this? Like, I don't know, 18 months ago. You remember when it was the last height? And of course, again, we bought it when it was really high. And again, it crashed and sat on it, all this time. And if you sit on it long enough, it does come back. It did actually come back. Of course, now it's crashed again.
Wait, Litecoin?
Yeah. And Ethereum too. I mean, it's down, way down from what it was a couple of weeks ago.
Dude, so's Doge. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't even talk about it because I'm gonna get all weepy and start losing my composure here. I really do believe, this is just my own personal opinion. You can make of this what you will. I do believe that we're in a lull and Doge is going to blast off again and it's going to finally break through $1. That's my personal opinion. So I'm hanging on. I've got a bunch of Doge too. I'm hoping that Palantir will do the same thing, because talk about wanting to cry. Palantir, my great Palantir, has fallen. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think Bitcoin's going to do the same thing. I really can't believe AMC is doing as well as it's doing. I did not see that coming back at all. But it is starting to reopen. Thank goodness. So isn't it great? Like, movie theaters are going to open up again. You can go and see a movie in the movie theater. I don't know what you're going to watch. They're going to have to show reruns of the Andy Griffith Show or something. But because there's not going to be any new content to watch. Or maybe they'll make a deal with Netflix where you could, oh my gosh, I am a marketing genius. AMC,
Netflix movies?
Make a deal with Netflix so that people who have Netflix can buy discounted tickets, go in and watch Netflix movies at the theater.
On the big screen.
On the big screen, where a lot of us really want to see them. Let's see here. Xavier Campon wants to know if John Prosser sent me pictures of the Mac Mini Pro. I can either confirm or deny that, but I will say, for those of you that were watching when John sent me pictures last week mid-show, I wasn't sure what I could show because he sent them to me like on the show, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can talk about this because he said not to mention it, but he just didn't want me to show the pictures. But what he sent me was a picture of the new Apple Watch. And surprisingly, it was very blurry. Like, talk about having to squint to see what's going on. It was kind of a blurry picture, but you could make out the shape of it, and it did look pretty much exactly like the renders that Front Page Tech released. So
the renders were based on the photograph.
The renders were based on the photograph, except they were a whole lot sharper, because that photo was really. I was like, dude, how could your picture be so blurry? Maybe the guy was like trying to snap a picture real fast, so he had to swing it up and then swing it back down before the German Shepherd saw him and took off his hand or something. I don't know. But it does look like the renders. So
it was just a case, right?
It was the outer casing of the Apple Watch. Yeah,
empty. No screen and
no screen or anything. Yeah, and it looked exactly like the render. So you're not really. If you want to know what the picture looked like, go look at the render on Front Page Tech. That's what it looked like. And it was green. It was green, like John said. It would have that AirPods Max green color, pea soup green. So it was that same color. So there you go.
Is that what they call it? Pea soup?
That's
I think that.
John didn't confirm that for me, but I believe it's going to be called pea soup green because we know that TC likes pea soup. It's one of his favorite foods. He likes to slurp. Anyway,
green.
Let me go back to this story because we completely skipped over it and didn't talk about it at all. So it looks like potentially Apple is going to be getting into the cryptocurrency space. Now, I know what you're all thinking. We're going to get Wazcoin or Y'all-coin, right? Am I right? Y'all-coin.
What's the other one?
Wazcoin.
Well, that's a good one. What's the other one? Y'all?
Y'all-coin.
I see, right. The Tim Cook one, Alabama special.
But it doesn't seem like Apple's necessarily going to have their own cryptocurrency. I think, at least to me, they are looking to the future and they're saying, look at all this activity that's happening with all these different cryptos. I mean, there's like 1,000 cryptos now. I don't want to be crass, but there was a coin that I was talking about with Buster. He was talking about this move that they have when you're jumping off cliffs and you dive into the water or do a cannonball from really high up. He calls it the Ass Blaster. And I was like, dude, we should start a coin called Ass Blaster because it's the only thing that you need to be successful with a cryptocurrency now is just to have a memorable name. That's really all it takes. I was like, who doesn't want to own shares of Ass Blaster? And then we looked, and someone already had it. Someone already.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, or it was called Butt Blaster or something. So it was already taken, and they're probably millionaires already. So that's already gone. But I think Apple is seeing all of this activity around cryptocurrency. Let me see if I can pull this story up. There we go. And I don't know if they're going to be developing their own coin. I doubt it. Or if they're just looking to get into allowing you to trade and accept cryptocurrency in the wallet app. So they have a job opening for Apple right now, asking for or looking for a quote unquote alternative payments business manager. And the job description says they're looking for someone with at least 5 years experience with digital wallets, BNPL. I don't even know what that means. BNPL.
Buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay later. Fast payments, cryptocurrency, and etc. Okay. So there you go. So clearly they're hiring for this kind of stuff, and it looks like they're at least trying to investigate it. And why wouldn't Apple get into it? I mean, their payments platform is growing like crazy, and Apple wants to be, I'm sure, on the cutting edge of payment technology. And it kind of seems like we're moving towards a crypto future. And the thing is right now is if you own crypto, you can't really spend it. In fact, you can't really do anything with crypto, can you? You really can't do anything with it except own it.
You could lose a lot of money on it.
You can lose money, yeah, and that's about it. Maybe if you're lucky.
You could buy stuff with it. I mean, some people accept it, don't they?
Very few. I think
Tesla accepted it for a hot minute, didn't it? Or was it talking about?
But then they didn't.
Just enough to pump and dump.
But I mean, you can buy things with it.
You can, but maybe in San Francisco it's more common. Where else are you going to do it around here? Anyway, I knew this story was going to be a huge bust. I'm watching our numbers plummet. No one cares about this story. If you're into cryptocurrency, I guess the conclusion is soon, or at least at some time in the future, maybe not soon, I should say, that you may be able to transact cryptocurrency transactions in the wallet app, or at least store your crypto in the wallet app. And that would be my guess, is maybe you'll be able to store crypto on your phone as like a crypto wallet or something. Maybe more than that will happen, but we don't know. But let's quickly abandon the story and forget that it ever happened, and move on to our last story of the day. Wait, come back! Wait, guys, come back!
We miss you already.
God, I wish YouTube actually had a button that let you do that, where if you saw your viewers leaving, you could hit the "Wait, come back" button. It would pop up, and you could be like, "We moved on. We're talking about something else now. Wait, come back." What do you think, Lewis?
Yeah, patent it.
Well, you're going to make $1 million off of Tab Lock. Tab Lock's going to make us millions. So, Tim Coin says Adam Broussard. I kind of like Y'all Coin. Cook Coin. There you go. I want Cane Coin. Make that happen, Lander.
Colt Coin.
Oh my gosh, even better. Lou Coin. We can each have our own coin. Why not? There's it's just an artificial fake thing, right? Right. That's exactly right.
Aside from a essential understanding of what cryptocurrency is or how it works or why anyone should care.
And the capital to produce it, yeah. Besides those things, we can totally get it done.
Ready to go.
All right, so let's wrap up with this story. I know we're actually cruising through these really fast, but so an update on Apple Music and the lossless codec that they're going to be releasing in June, I believe. So let me pull up this story. So we talked about Apple Music last week and how none of the Apple Music listening apparatuses that you own are going to actually support Apple Music lossless. Well, we have an update direct from Apple. They have a new support document that is out, and they explicitly say HomePod, the discontinued HomePod, and HomePod Mini, although they currently use AAC for their audio quality, and they sound fantastic, support for lossless is coming in a future software update. So this is the second major update that we're getting to the discontinued HomePod. I find that interesting. Right, the last update that you may have missed when we talked about it was the addition of audio pass-through for the HomePod. So currently, your HomePod can only play audio that is coming from your Apple TV, okay? So it passes it through to the HomePod. But if you're watching another system on your TV, maybe a Roku, you're playing your Xbox, PlayStation, that audio can't be passed through to your HomePods. But with this new update that's coming to HomePods, all the audio that's being played on your TV, regardless of which device is sending it to your TV, can go to the HomePods. That makes them way more useful. So now,
don't you have to have the new Apple TV to do that?
I don't think so. I think it will work with the previous 4K Apple TV as well. The new Apple TV is actually such a minor update. I was just reading reviews this week, no one's talking about the Apple TV. Everyone just loves the remotes. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing people seem to really be excited about. And people love the new Apple TV remote, which, by the way, let me see if I can pull this up in real time here. So you could spend $180 on the Apple TV 4K, the new one, which is almost identical to the... Do you notice how slowly I'm talking?
Yeah.
Which is almost identical to the previous Apple TV 4K. Or you can do what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend $59 and get the best part of the Apple TV 4K, the new one, and that's the new remote. People love it. You can buy it for $59. It has a power button on it, so you can actually turn your TV on and off. It's got a mute button on it. That weird menu button is gone. They replaced it with a back button, which makes way more sense. It has a Siri button on the side, so you won't ever accidentally hit it. $59. I think that's a crazy good deal. Lewis, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Accidentally hit the Siri button?
Yeah. Does it ever happen to you?
No, I hit it on person. On person.
You hit it on
Good
person.
God. On purpose.
I hit it on persons too. Sometimes my
That's
wife,
the oddest thing
my
about
kids.
that remote. I find that Siri button to be in a really odd place. It's actually hard to kind of get to with your thumb. You almost have to like hold the thing different. It seems like an odd place to me. And as much as Siri is annoying as can be when it doesn't work, but it's actually pretty essential to Apple TV.
Yeah, I think Siri on Apple TV is one of the best Siri experiences that Apple has. Like speaking directly into that controller, it freaking works great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does it? Does it work? I mean, sometimes it does, but other times you can say, show me this movie, and it just will not do it, and you know for sure that the movie exists. So I don't know. I've had that happen over and over, and also sometimes I get a pretty serious lag with it. I don't know if that's a personal problem or what. Yeah, like you press the button and it doesn't like start listening for a second or two.
I've never had that happen.
2 or 3 words, and then it's like catching up. I don't know. Like I said, could be a personal problem.
Well, this new Apple TV remote, I think, fixes all the issues that many people had with it. And you guys can't see this. I'm showing a full screen image of it right now. Look how big that remote is. It fits in your hand much bigger. This is one of those examples where smaller isn't necessarily better because it makes it easier to lose. It makes it easier to break. And this controller it's just everything that I want in an Apple TV remote. It's beautiful, sleek, it's slim, but it's larger.
Take a look at it. You notice that the play pause button, right?
Yeah.
And they moved it up where the Siri button was. And so now when you go to hit the play pause button, I guarantee you the first 5 times you do it, you're going to hit mute. And you're going to be going, why don't I hear anything?
Well, I think
and oddly enough, like if you're not paying attention, you just hit it. The sound stops. So you go, oh, and you go do something, right? You come back and it's like it's still playing. What happened? It's because you pressed the button where it usually is, and it stops the sound, which makes it seems like it's stopped, but no, in fact, it's just still rolling silently.
Well, wouldn't you notice that the picture's still moving, but there's no sound?
Only if you're paying attention. That's what I'm saying. Only
if you're watching the TV.
I mean, okay, let's say you're watching some movie that's got a slow scene, right? And you're like, oh, or it's a transition, right? And you go, okay, this is a great time to hit pause and go to the restroom. This is just an example. I've never done this. You hit pause, you think, sound stops, still in the transition, you head for the bathroom. You come back 3 minutes later.
You've missed the most important part.
It's already you're 3 minutes into the. I'm just saying it's to me it's kind of odd. Why would they move those 2 buttons? I don't quite get it.
Well, who has that muscle memory? I mean,
me. Everybody who's ever used one for years and years and years, don't they?
I maybe.
Me neither.
Admittedly, this is a very minor quibble, but once you get yours, I guarantee you, like first few times, you can be like, "What did I just do?"
This is like a quiblet. It's even smaller than a quibble.
Quiblet.
It's the smallest gripe you could possibly fathom.
It's a quib.
Yeah, methinks thy doth quibest too much, Lewis,
Yeah,
as Shakespeare would say.
I'm admittedly, this is a very, very minor point, but I just found it odd. The only reason I can think that they did that is because the remote is a little bit bigger. It's not that much bigger, actually.
It looks a lot. Let me go back to
It
browser
looks a
mode.
lot bigger.
It
in the
looks
pictures.
huge.
It's not that much bigger. It's just a little bit bigger, and perhaps because you hold it, maybe a slightly different place in your hand, maybe they're thinking that, oh, your thumb naturally falls on that pause button more than it does on the mute button. But you know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe it's an ergonomic decision. I don't know. By the way, it is a little bit thicker, and it is a lot harder to lose down the in the cushions. So that part, perfect.
That is a huge upgrade. I just I know I've said this before, and I can't believe we've been talking about the Apple TV remote for this long. This was definitely unplanned. But the Apple TV, the Siri remote for the Apple TV, it's almost like they outsourced the design to Comcast or something. It is one of the most confusing remotes because they have the button on there that looks like an iMac, right? And then next to it they have the menu button. Well, the menu button, okay, but what is the menu button supposed to do? Where is it supposed to take you? And then the button with the Mac-looking thing on it, which I'm showing right now, where is that supposed to take you? So it's like you have these two buttons that you never really know exactly what the intention is. What is the purpose of both of them? So at least on this remote, they got rid of the menu button and they put a back button, which is what the menu button was supposed to do before.
Well, right. I was going to say the menu button was traditionally the back button, wasn't it? And it was actually based upon, wasn't it like the iPod design scheme? Where you have the nested. You would go into music and then albums, and then you'd have a list of all the albums, and then if you hit menu to come back up again, up through the tree. And I think that was always what the early Apple remotes always reminded me of, was the iPod, navigation system where you go down the tree and then back up the tree again. But a back button certainly makes more sense. It's more intuitive, isn't it? And something that everyone's used to now, having used browsers and every other device.
You know what, Leander? You might be right. I've got a picture of the iPod here, and on the wheel you have on the left the back button, on the right the forward button. Down below that you have the play pause, and at the top you have menu. And wasn't it the menu button that you'd hit to go backwards in the menu?
I think so.
I think you're right. Egad, I think he solved it. That might be it. Now that is one of the strangest homages that I can think of in Apple history. Like once you remove the context of the iPod and you put it on an Apple TV remote, it really makes no sense at all to do that. So maybe they were trying to, I guess maybe use the same design language they'd used before, but in the context of the remote, it really makes no sense. We have more people listening to this conversation than we did 10 minutes ago. This is truly unbelievable. We should do a whole episode on the Apple TV remote.
Product.
Well,
I can't believe it.
The first remote that Apple did that I can remember anyway was with the iMac. You remember that? They for like one of those early plastic white iMacs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The when they were white plastic, and then it had a little white remote that you could stick to the side of the iMac with a magnet.
Oh man, I remember those.
That was for navigating front.
Yes.
Front. What the?
I'm trying to think of it too.
Front row. Front row.
Front row.
No, it wasn't front row.
Full frontal. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it.
Weird enough, I've actually got I've got it here. Look.
Oh
You're
man,
kidding me.
that was one of my. I completely forgot that ever even existed.
Front row. Discontinued Media Center software application for Macintosh computers and Apple TV.
Yeah. Front row.
I forgot about that too.
Dude, me too. Remind me what front row was. It was like a media organization system for your computers and like home videos and stuff, right?
It was like a way of navigating your iTunes library. Using this kind of this very visual interface.
Yes. Okay. I pulled it up. Thank you, Macworld.
Go flying around, to the left, to the right, and choose what you wanted.
This article is from 2015. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Front row. I completely
So old.
forgot about this. Yes. That remote that came with the Mac at the time, I loved that thing because you could watch movies on it and like play and pause the movie from across the room. And yeah, there's the interface, right? You have your home movies, your photos, you have iTunes, you got your DVD sitting right there. Back when the Macs had DVD drives. Oh man, you took it way back, Leander. Holy moly!
Shocking you pulled that remote out.
I love that you just have it right there too. It's literally sitting right next to him. Why is it there?
I don't know.
And we literally didn't talk about this at all prior. That was just sitting there.
Well, my desk is a bit of a mess. I got to admit.
Well, I haven't cleaned my desk since 2014.
Carefully curated library of gear.
I don't know why I have it here. I honestly don't. But
That is truly incredible. It was just literally sitting right there.
I haven't used it for
That's
a good 10
hilarious.
years either.
Now I'm curious. Can you take the remote out and see if it works with your Mac? Can you do anything with it?
You just blink him out.
Well, I
All of a
just tried
sudden-
to stick it. It does stick to the Mac. It sticks
Okay.
to the.
What? I wonder if you could play or pause your music. Probably not, because your Mac doesn't have an infrared port anymore.
Well, I'm hitting the buttons. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, watch
Batteries
them
are
just
dead.
disappear. Yeah, it might be the batteries.
Yeah, how did you charge this thing up?
I don't think you could. Didn't it have
Well,
a
one battery, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it had a watch battery. Wow. Okay.
Hilarious.
Well, let's move on,
Okay,
shall
then.
we? Big gulps. Okay.
Dropped on the floor.
Leander, I really I'm endlessly amused that has been sitting on your desk since 2015 and you haven't touched it. And finally, it's serendipity. Finally, you're like, wait a second. You start
Yeah, no,
shuffling
I
around.
can
It's like
rip it out.
literally right there next to you.
They
Okay.
discontinued it in 2011, front row.
Oh, wow. And it's just been sitting
2011.
there ever since.
10 years ago. Wow.
Wow.
Leander's like, blows on it like this huge cloud of dust goes in the air. We could barely see him. Okay, let me go back to the story and I'll wrap us up and take us home here.
There's a
Although
story?
now I have so many freaking tabs open, I don't even know where we were. Okay, right. So Apple Music, the lossless codec. So it's coming to your HomePod. It's coming to your HomePod Mini. But I know what you're thinking. Well, what about my hi-fi Apple headphones that I spent $600 on? Well, now that's interesting. We had, I think this was last week, John Prosser released his theory of what he thinks Apple's going to do. And he believes that at a certain point in the future, Apple's going to release an update. It's going to make your AirPods Max work with Apple lossless. And it will be like the very first hi-fi, Wi-Fi pair of headphones that exist. I think that's an interesting theory. But the problem is AirPods use Bluetooth 5. Now, Bluetooth 5, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to transmit a lossless codec via Bluetooth, which is one of the downfalls of the AirPods Max. And one of the things I was surprised about when they first came out, I was like, these are Bluetooth headphones. So now, how does it work with the HomePods? Well, if I scroll down on the page for the HomePod Mini, you can see under the wireless section, this is the specs section of the HomePod Mini. The HomePod Mini have 802.11n Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth 5. So they use Wi-Fi. But if you go over to the AirPods Max page, I'm on the specs page on apple.com, and you scroll down and you go to the connectivity, they say Bluetooth 5 only. So now I'm kind of thinking, is John right about this? I mean, it's a good guess on his part. Maybe he has inside information that he hasn't shared. But according to Apple's own specs for the AirPods Max, they don't support Wi-Fi. So how are you going to get a lossless codec on the AirPods Max? Now I'm thinking, if this is accurate and it's only Bluetooth and they don't support Wi-Fi, now I'm thinking that you actually won't get Apple Music lossless on your AirPods Max, which, as I mentioned last week, I think would go down as one of the biggest all-time buffoonish fumbles ever in Apple history. You release a pair of high-fidelity headphones that you're selling for $600, and they don't support your top-tier codec on your own music streaming service. I mean, the only thing I can think of, I used this example last week. Someone throws a Hail Mary, the receiver is totally clear. It's a tied game. He hits the ball, and he just goes, whoa, 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 whoa. He's bouncing the ball all around. He drops it. He falls over. His pants fall down, and the entire Super Bowl sees his buttocks, his bare exposed buttocks. That's the kind of fumble I'm thinking of, Lewis.
That's a pretty vivid portrait you're painting there.
Yeah.
Lander, what were we going to say? Final words, Lander.
We should do this. I mean, like, I bet if you go to HomePod, because you can't do this with the AirPods Max, right? The headphones right now, but you could do it with the HomePod and do a blind listening test between Apple AAC and, the lossless codec. And I will guarantee that, nobody would ever pick out the difference.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I bet you I could. Now, I agree with you. I think a lot of people would not be able to pick out the difference, and a lot of people probably wouldn't care. But for the people that spent $600 on a pair of hi-fi headphones from Apple, don't you think those people, even if they couldn't hear a difference, wouldn't they care? Just knowing that they're not getting the best.
It's high. They are hi-fi headphones. It does seem like it's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. Even if you really can't hear it, there's going to be
just knowing.
There's going to be that guttural disappointment, just knowing that you could have heard it, but you don't even have the opportunity after giving Apple $600. So
I think the spatial stuff is more significant, really, probably, right? And it supports that.
Yeah,
that's what Apple played up in its press release too. I mean, that was actually the headline: spatial audio.
Yeah, and don't worry about the.
And wouldn't they bring it up? I mean, wouldn't they at least mention that they're going to be bringing this technology to their AirPods Max at some point in the future? Wouldn't they at least say it now? Now, according to John Prosser, he was like, well, the reason that they're not mentioning it now is because they're in a trial with Epic, and they don't want to have yet another example that shows that they are advantaging their own hardware over other people's hardware and showing that they may have a monopoly in some capacity. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said, which I think makes sense. You are in a trial, which, by the way, total aside, did you guys hear the judge say that neither side, Apple or Epic, is going to be happy with her conclusion? Did you guys hear that?
No.
Now
really?
that is interesting. Yeah. Now that is interesting,
case.
Right? It's like, oh, really?
Fence sitter.
Neither side is going to be happy. So is she gonna force Apple to compromise in some way and give Epic what they want in some way? Now, to me, that might mean that she is going to require Apple to allow developers to access some part of, or to get around Apple's rules in some way. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud here, thinking out loud here. Clearly also talking out loud. But I found that to be very interesting. Now I'm really curious to see what ends up happening with this case, because it doesn't seem like a guaranteed win for Apple. The judge seems to think, at least partly, that Epic is right, at least in some way. So what is that going to mean for Apple? Now that is going to be interesting to see. Well, I think that's all that we got. But you know what? I thought we could do something a little bit new here, unless you guys are dying to go. Well, we've got.
I do have to go.
You got all these people here. Can you wait for 2 minutes, Leander? 2 minutes.
It's gonna get the chicken.
And I was just gonna say, for those of you who are here live, because we always have all this chat going on, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, we could wrap it up and then come right back, and we could address any questions that you guys have. I don't know. It might be kind of fun, so we can have a little bit more interaction, because like normally, like we just bomb through the show, and we don't actually address any of the comments in the chat. But I thought maybe this time we could do it. So let's do this. I will officially start the music. We'll wrap up the show, and then we'll come back. And if anyone has anything they want us to discuss, we'll do that, and then we'll officially wrap up. But since we got the audio version going out, let's go ahead and start the music. That's all the podcast. That's all the podcast we have for you guys this week, unless you're staying tuned for another 5 minutes, in which case it's not. There's going to be 5 more minutes. But that's all the Coolcast we have for you guys this week. I totally forgot how the ending goes. That's all the Coolcast we have for you guys this week. Oh, that's right. But the fun doesn't have to stop. You can come say hi to us on Twitter. I'm at Erfon, ERF. Leander is at L. Kane. Lewis is at Lewis Walls. This has been the Coldcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Coldcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys either next time or in 5 minutes. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back. I'm dancing right now. You guys can't see it. People are still hanging out. You gonna leave, Leander? People are hanging out. They want to hear what you gotta say.
I have to go.
You gotta pee so bad. You gotta do
I'm
what
not
I
gonna
do.
say why.
Get a mason jar.
Just open up the window.
Yeah, just do what they did in Great Britain in like the 17th, 1800s. Just put,
in the 1980s.
just do what they did in the UK up until the year 2010. Go into a jar and then just toss the jar into the street.
Someone will notice.
Watch out below.
San Francisco.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That is a little ironic, is you came from one area where that was allowed to another area where it's encouraged.
Can I come back in a sec?
Yeah. You can take off if you want. Come back when you're ready. All right, guys. We're almost ready. And we're back. Okay, I think Leander had to make a number 3. The mythical number 3.
Oh my God.
There's nothing wrong with having to make a number 3, Lewis. Sometimes
Okay.
you think it's going to be a 1, and then you realize there might be a 2, and then sometimes it's just
It's escalated.
the situation escalates rapidly, and you end up with a number 3. So there you go. But we got a ton of people here still watching. So let me open up the chat window. And if this works and doesn't bomb horribly, we can start doing this more often. And it's funny because normally we have like an outline of things that we will be that we'll be talking about for the show, and we get into a flight pattern, and we just stick to it, and we do the whole show. And then I'm looking at the chat afterwards, and I'm like, holy moly, there's all these comments that people have been asking or making, and we don't ever get to address any of them, especially with El Caney. People always want to hear from El Caney, not necessarily from you and me, Lewis.
Of course, so that's why he left.
So, but
Perfect.
and normally I have to go pee pee so bad at the end of every show, but I intentionally was taking fewer sips.
I thought maybe you had a catheter installed.
That's
Not that bad. Broadcast catheter. Another patent idea.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I'm gonna go for that one. I think we might have peaked with tab lock. I'm not a fan of that one.
We can call it the Peedcast.
Well, I think some people already call it that. We could talk about we should at least mention that after years and years of training and mentorship and friendship and helping him perfect his writing style and his personality, because his personality was so bland and kind of boring.
A lot of work.
And helping him really blossom, Alex E. Heath has finally made the transition from boring publication to the big time. He's now at The Verge. I hear that his role is actually going to be a dual role, so he'll be writing part-time, and then the other half of his job he'll be cleaning the office, making sure the toilets are clean, refilling the coffee, rubbing Nilay Patel's shoulders, and doing such tasks. So, congratulations to Alex E. Heath for making it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Alex E. Heath for and I told him, I was like, Alex, just when I thought The Verge couldn't get any worse, they went and hired you.
Jeez.
Now I'm definitely not gonna listen or watch. I thought it was bad before. You're gonna be there now? Jeez. I thought it couldn't get any worse. I was like, this couldn't possibly get worse, but I was wrong. Let's see here. Let's move up and let's start talking about the comments. Okay. Here we go. Let's start with Mana667. Should I buy the iPad or the MacBook Air? Lewis, what do you think about that?
Depends on what you want. I mean, what are you
I
going to do
knew
with it?
you were gonna say something like
Well,
that.
how can you answer that question? How can you answer that question?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say a lot of people on the staff use iPads with keyboards and mouse or trackpad, and they. I mean, there's one guy that doesn't even have a Mac. He uses iPad exclusively. Loves it.
Come on. Who is it?
I
Yeah,
can't
don't
tell
don't
you.
out him like that. don't out him as being that unprofessional. Well,
No,
this
he
is
does it all. He mentions it all the time. Ed Hardy. He writes about it all the time. He that's all he uses. iPad Pro.
wow.
So
Well, that wouldn't be me. I think the iPad Pro is a absurd productivity device, quite honestly. Like, and the new iPad with the M1, they just keep making the problem worse. And by that I mean they keep making it more powerful, but there's no apps that take advantage of the power that you're paying for. So to me, it kind of seems like a waste of money. So if it were me, MacBook Air all the way. If I could only choose between one gadget, even my iPhone, honestly, I would probably go with a Mac, like a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air, because I create a lot of content. So, but to Lewis's point, it does kind of depend on what you're into, what your bag is, baby. Let's talk about Airfon's Menagerie. Okay, we're gonna skip that one, Matt. 7895. Lando looks great on the new iPad Pro. Lando is broadcasting for the new iMac Pro, and I think he does the iMac Pro. Yeah, that's what I said, right?
there's no Pro. No Pro.
Oh, right, the iMac. You know, the iMac Pro is coming, so
Check.
I got my facts wrong there. All right, Paul says he loves the Jurassic Park shirt. I know. Just look at that beautiful shirt. I wore it out. I mean, I don't know if you caught this, but I've worn this so much that
Jeez,
now my lats are huge. So that's probably part of the problem. Okay, let's see here. Christopher Gavin, question: aside from hardware, if we get any, what are you most excited to see here at WWDC? Lewis, your thoughts? Penny for your thoughts, Lewis? Nickel?
I always like to see stuff that they add to the watch. To be honest, that to me is always fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I'm looking forward to seeing what they add to the watch. I really hope that they take this opportunity to delineate the iPad OS from iOS, because they keep making the iPad more powerful, the iPad Pro. And that power, as I mentioned earlier, is so underutilized that to me, it indicates that something big is coming for iPad OS, at least in the future. They're preparing, they're laying the groundwork for something. And it seems to me like we're going to get a really big departure with iPad OS away from the I don't know, from the low productivity reality of what it currently is. You just can't use it to be a productivity machine unless you're going to be using it for like drawing or something.
What if it can run Mac apps?
Well, that would be crazy. That would be the kind of thing that I'd be looking for. I would want full access to file system if we're talking about a real device here, okay? Real file system access, real Mac-like how do I say this? Real the ability to I'm totally spacing on my words.
Wow.
The ability to have multiple windows open at the same time, and not like in the way they have on the iPad now, which I actually don't love, but to be able to use them like they are on the Mac. So I would want that as well. I have a question. Adam Broussard, when will we get more? Oh, you want to know about the YouTube channel? Yeah, the reviews are coming back. I'm currently testing some stuff right now. I won't go into a lot of it right now, but I have been spending almost all my time on my side hustle, which is my Amazon business, which became my my actual business. And the freaking Amazon thing is going crazy right now, but it's completely consumed me. So for those of you that don't know, I started an Amazon business kind of like as an aside, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and it's just been going really well, but it's been a tremendous amount of work. And unfortunately, my Gadget Hunter videos have suffered, but don't worry, I still got it. It's coming back. Don't you worry. It's coming back. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Airphone has abandoned YouTube, says Jason Autry. That's untrue. That's called fake news, but it does seem like I did. And yet my YouTube channel keeps growing. That's the crazy thing about YouTube, is it just keeps getting bigger. I always talk about this. YouTube is really one of the best platforms to be on right now. If you're trying to grow an audience, to TikTok being the other one, of course. TikTok probably even more powerful than YouTube at this point. I could do a whole episode on this. But YouTube is truly unbelievably powerful. So here I have this channel that I'm not even putting content on anymore, and people are still subscribing to my channel. It's crazy. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to read this question. We're not going to answer it. Christoph wants to know about the amount of Cultimac ads. Love the show. Cultimac has a lot of ads. Lewis, no comment. Let's move on. Do you want to make a comment?
I mean, the comment is, got to keep the lights on somehow.
Bingo. Bango.
One of the things we've discussed, and I'm very curious, I would love to hear some feedback on this. I mean, we've discussed like a membership program or something where people could, gain access to certain things, gain access to an ad-free version of the site. I don't know. I mean, the bottom line is you got to have ads to support the site, right as it is now. If you're not charging for it, you got to make money somehow. So
that's right.
I mean, I agree. There's a fair number of ads on there,
but here's the thing: like, no one wants to pay for membership services.
I know.
That's the weird thing. We're at this weird time where people don't want to. People are seeing fewer ads because of the way that Apple is setting things up, right? And then also just in general, people have ad blockers and stuff. But then people don't want to pay for stuff, and I include myself in that. Like, do I want to have yet another $5 a month membership? It's like,
I know.
They're just, everyone's trying to get $5, and I get people need to make money. So I mean, yeah, because we have Codecast support, so right. I'm doing it too. Like, it's like, all right. Well, let's see here. I'm looking through the questions, but they're it just jumped right. Menagerie, private zoo. No comments. Let's see here. Any guesses on the name of Mac OS? Okay, Mac OS is going to be an homage to the city that they love, San Francisco. Mac OS, Pooh City, USA. What do you think about that?
I'd like to see Mac OS Devil's Post Pile.
Devil's Post Pile?
Yeah.
I don't get that reference, Lewis. I'm sorry.
I think it's a state park here.
Oh, okay. Are there any other iconic locations?
How about Death Valley?
I like that. I like that. That would actually be really cool. Death Valley. What are you writing? Death Valley. Let's see here. Okay. I hope they release newer AirPods Pro with a longer battery. Well, that's a great hope, Paul. I don't think that we're going to see that, but you never know.
That's one of the things that I'm actually starting to notice that I guess my AirPods 2, now they just, I don't know, were they a couple years old? And I'll be sitting there listening and it's like, oh, yeah, you 20%. And then it pretty quickly goes to 0%. It's like, there's that program program. It's a service called, I think it's called Pod Swap. Have you heard about this? It's like,
yeah. We talked about it on the show.
Send them your HomePods. Send them your AirPods. They send you refurbished pair, $60. I mean, I don't know.
Dude, I wonder if that's still going because that was actually an intriguing service. So for those of you that don't know what Luce is referencing, there's a service called Pod Swap, and what they would do is let you send in your old AirPods, and they would fix them for you or send you a new pair and then fix yours and resell them. And they could swap out batteries because, oftentimes the only problem with your AirPods is that the batteries are dying. In fact, my original AirPods are having this exact problem. My right AirPod is it's just dying. It has no battery life yet. Yeah, they're still active. Check this out. AirPods with new battery life. So, look at that. They have
right?
the Cultimac logo on there. How much is it? Let's see. Does it say? So I'll go to swap now. Yeah, it's $60. So, I mean, that's kind of a lot of money. It's kind of a lot of money considering you can get a brand new pair of AirPods for like $140. And that would be the new AirPods, right? But they'll fix them for you if you want with new batteries. So if you have an older pair of AirPods and you just have a battery problem, this actually might be a great solution for you guys. I haven't tried it myself, but they are no longer doing second gen, only first gen. That's interesting.
Really?
Yeah. I wonder why that is. That's kind of weird.
Wow. Oddly enough, I can't pull up their website.
Well, it's thepodswap.com.
Yeah, I just keep getting it's some SSL thing.
Oh, fix your SSLs. I hear Leander might be back from.
There's something rustling around.
I hear something too. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Seng here is saying TikTok reviews. I do have a TikTok channel if you're interested. I think it's at Gadget Hunter. I haven't put out a video in a while. I was on hold for that too, but yeah, I was putting out tech reviews there as well, and I probably will continue that again. Let's see here. I think we're starting to run out of comments here. Let's see. Adam Broussard talking about the Amazon business. Oh man, I'm just going to show you guys something real fast. Can I show you guys this real fast? So I just want to show you something that might blow your mind, okay? And for those of you watching that don't know anything about my Amazon business, just humor me here for a second. So I started the Amazon business, I think, in February, and this is a bar graph or bar graphs month by month of my amount of sales increases per month, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. So January, February, March, April, May. And look how much my business has grown in that short amount of time. Can you see this? Look at that.
To the moon!
Look at that. So the first bar, tiny. Second bar, tiny. Third bar, huge improvement. Fourth bar, almost double the one before it. This month, almost double the one before it. In fact, I think I just doubled my sales from last month. So
exponential growth.
It's going crazy right now. Amazon is so powerful. You got to deal with a lot of BS. There's a lot of BS on Amazon that you got to deal with. And people are crazy. You know, consumers are crazy. They do all sorts of crazy stuff. I once saw a video, especially on Amazon, because Amazon accepts a lot of returns, right? And the people who work at Amazon have to make split-second decisions on whether or not something is authorized to be returned, and they're acting really fast. And Amazon, I think they play it loose a lot of times because they just want to make people happy. And if you return too much, they'll probably raise your account. They'll probably flag your account as having a problem. But for the most part, they just let your return go through. And people will buy pallets of Amazon returns. So Amazon will liquidate a lot of this stuff. And then you could buy a pallet and resell the stuff on eBay or something. So I was watching one of these pallet return videos, and this guy had purchased a pallet of electronics or something. He had a box of Xbox controllers. Did I tell you this story, Lewis? He pulls the box out and he's like, "Okay, let's see what's in here." And in the front is Xbox packaging, right? And then he opens it. He looks inside and he's like, oh. He reaches his hand in and he pulls out a towel. He unwraps the towel, and I kid you not, it's 2 dumbbells. Someone wrapped up 2 dumbbells in a towel and sent it to Amazon as an Xbox headphones return, and they took it back. They took it back and they sold it. I mean, at least from the video, that's the way it seems. They sold to this guy on a liquidation pallet. Now, maybe someone at Amazon stole it when they were returned and the consumer didn't actually try to defraud Amazon, but I could tell you story after story about buying Amazon returns, and then you realize that the stuff that you purchased, it's Amazon warehouse deals, right? So the stuff that Amazon tries to resell, Amazon warehouse deals, same problem. I bought a Phantom drone from Amazon once, and I opened it up, and I was like, oh shoot, the battery in here is wrong. Someone bought it, swapped out the battery, and then returned it because the batteries are really expensive. So I called Amazon. They were, of course, great, and they refunded me part of the purchase so that I could get the right battery. And then I started examining it more. I'm like, wait a second. No, it's not the battery. The entire unit is a completely different drone. Someone bought a drone, swapped it out with an old drone, sent it back to Amazon, and Amazon accepted it as a return. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Like, these people who are doing the returns have a very low level of training, I think, when it comes to like technical returns, and they have to make split-second decisions. So for them, they're like, just take it back. It looks the same, just take it back, but it's a totally different product. Let's see here. Will Cultcast be utilizing Apple Podcast payment system? Javier, I keep calling you Javier. Xavier, come on. We are thinking about it. We're thinking about it. But no immediate plans at this point. It is interesting, though. You've heard about that, right, Lewis? The Amazon podcast subscription stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. All I got to say is, dude, about time. It's about time that Apple did something to help us poor, starving podcasters. And I'm happy to see that they did this. I wish they did it 5 years ago, but it is good to see that they did something. For those of you that don't know what Xavier's talking about, Apple has added support in the new version of iOS for an all-new podcast support system so that podcasters can now charge for single episodes or single shows or entire channels. You can subscribe to those channels or shows via Apple Pay, and then you get special content, extra content. I mean, it's interesting. It is really interesting. Because we have the Patreon going, but people have to have a Patreon account. They have to go to another platform. And then with Apple Pay, it's just right there in line with what you're already doing. Now, what's interesting is, as an answer to this, Spotify released the exact same service, and theirs is free. Apple wants 30% of your revenues for the first year, and then they cut it back down to 15%. Spotify's free the entire time. Boom! That's across your bow, TC. Let's see here. I think that might be everything. What do you sell on Amazon? It varies. Lots of stuff. These days, mostly clothing and shoes.
Dumbbells wrapped in towels.
You wouldn't believe what I charge for dumbbells wrapped in towels. That's actually my Amazon username. Dumbbells wrapped in towels. .biz is my website. And I sell all sorts of garbage that I collect from the trash cans around my neighborhood. Let's see. Funny thing is those dumbbells probably cost more than the Xbox headphones. Weights shortage. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Absolutely true.
That's probably true now. Yeah, you can't get your hands on any dumbbells. Well, there's quite a few roaming around Cult of Mac, but whoa! I should have said 9 to 5 Mac. Oh, what was I thinking? There's no shortage of dumbbells at The Verge. There's none at Cult of Mac. Let's see here. All right, guys. Well, hopefully this puts Patreon out of business. Well, dude, that's an interesting observation. Yeah, because if you have a lot of people just have Patreons just for the podcast function. So I'll wrap up with this. If you guys aren't familiar with how Patreon works, they allow you to have people pay you and then you can produce content. But they don't even host the content in most regards. They just allow you to give private access to the content, and people pay you a monthly fee. Now, what they do, which is really smart, is they give every person who subscribes to you their own private RSS feed. So you can control who gets what content. But if Apple's going to do that, it kind of eliminates the need to have Patreon, because Patreon is like a extra step that people have to go through. And if you could just do it right there on podcasts, well, that's the place you want to do it, because that's where everyone is. So, or where most people is. Like the bulk of people who listen to podcasts listen in Apple Podcasts. Some people also do Spotify. But between those two, that's pretty much everybody. So, if you could do it there, then why do you need Patreon anymore? And Patreon's cut isn't small either.
I was going to ask, what's their percentage?
Patreon, it depends on when you got in, but Patreon's cut, I think, is like 9% or 8% or something. And then they also charge a payment processing fee. So you get that on top of it, All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We should start doing this more often, Lewis. We had a ton of people stay here for the whole thing, and people are still watching. So we should do this more often. And once we get El Caney back, it's going to be a hoot and a holler. Let's see. El Caney, you there? No, he's not there.
He can't hear you.
Look, there. His empty desk is there.
He probably went across the street to get a sandwich.
Yeah.
So jealous.
I mean, usually right when the show ends, he has to run to make a number 3. But it doesn't usually take this long, So actually, I'm a little concerned with him because normally he's back by now. But you know what I hate? All these podcasts go on Spotify exclusive, says Wesley Davenport. Yeah, man, I don't think that's the way to go. Quite honestly, I think that's a bad way to go. Like Joe Rogan Experience. Okay, forgive me, I'm talking out of school here, but I think going to Spotify was a horrendous move for Joe Rogan from a growth perspective. Okay, he made a ton of money, and that's great. But leaving YouTube, I think, removed his discovery, and discovery is the most important part for a podcast. We could do a whole show on this. I could talk about discovery all day. That's one of the biggest problems with podcasts, and one of the reasons why YouTube is so powerful. but he built his brand on YouTube because YouTube is such a powerful way to discover new content. And now he's gone. And people they don't seem to be following him over to Spotify. Spotify is weird, man. You're like, it's not known as a video platform. It's an audio platform. It's a great audio platform, but they haven't yet built a reputation for being a video platform. And you go there and you're like, how do I watch the video? People are confused by it. It's work. There's a great book in college that I read that I always remember the title of because it was so accurate, so profound. It was written by a guy named Steve Kruggs, I think, and the title was Don't Make Me Think. And that is the name of the game when you're making content. You just got to make it so easy for people. Unless you have something truly special like the Cult Cast. I mean, we could be broadcasting in Antarctica, right? And we'd have a crowd of seals there clapping. In fact, we have one on the show. I'm just joking. Look, Leander's not here, is he? Lewis and I always have a little bit of fun because Leander claps like a seal. I can show you video evidence. I don't know what it is, but like when most people clap, they employ their shoulders and their arms, right? They go like this. And they swing. But Leander, and actually, Steve Jobs used to do this. There's a picture of Steve Jobs doing this exact same thing. He locks his arms in a V, much like a seal, and then he goes like this. Lewis is laughing because he knows I'm right. Art! And then out of the blue, because we do a clap every week before we start to sync our audios, a fish flies out from somewhere off camera, and he catches it in his mouth, and he goes, and shakes it around. Truly amazing.
Now I'm getting hungry.
I am too, yeah. Joe Rogan, no one watches it anymore. They watch it on YouTube, man. Joe Rogan Clips is still there. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for staying tuned. If you're looking for OnlyFans content, Alex E. Heath has one. I'll release the URL in the show notes, and we'll do this more often because this was actually great. It was great spending time with you guys. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you all next time.